everyone, it's Jesy, and I'm so excited for this today's video. I'm so excited for today's video because today I'm going to be I can't speak English, come on, I'm turning into Count Jacka. Today's video, I'm going to be recommending to you some spooky, creepy Halloween reads. I love when videos like this go around booktube because A, I've been wanting to do this video for a really long time. Really enjoy watching these types of videos because I love getting different creepy recommendations from every different person. This is my interpretation and my recommendations for you guys. Also, I stole the Mickey Mouse ear ideas from Grace with a book in her face. I had these ears too, which were like even more perfect that say Happy Halloween, but I just feel like since I'm wearing this, the Victorian mini Haunted Mansion ears go better, so styling. Now I really want to go to Disneyland. First up, I am not starting off small. This is a big brick of a book, and the first recommendation is It by Stephen King. I actually started reading this book a little while ago before I went to see the movie. I stopped at like page 300, and it's like a 1200 page book, like 1150-ish pages. It's a big honkin' book, but Stephen King's writing is so good, and it's such a creepy and twisted book. I've heard that it's actually one of his scariest books. I've really enjoyed it from what I've read from it and seeing the movie, which was really great. I can't wait for the second one. I am super pumped to dive back into this book throughout October and finish it while reading other books because it's the perfect creepy vibe with clowns and scariness. Yay! So I like going into this book without knowing anything because it's a complete surprise with almost 1200 pages, so that's why I'm not really telling you guys what it's about. Also, if you've seen the movie or the original, you probably already know what it's about. It involves clowns, that's all you need to know. The next book I have here is called The Summoning by Kelly Armstrong. I read this book so long ago after I finished reading the Mortal Instruments series from what was out, I think in like 2013, maybe 12, it's probably 2013. I had picked this series up directly afterwards because I was in such a reading slump after finishing all of Cassandra Clare's books at the time, and I just picked this book up and I fell in love with this trilogy. This is the first book. It follows a girl named Chloe Saunders who is a necromancer. All she wanted was to make friends, meet boys, and keep on being ordinary. It all started on the day I saw my first ghost, and the ghost saw me. Now there are ghosts everywhere, and they won't leave me alone. To top it all off, I somehow got myself locked up in the Lyle house, a special home for troubled teens. Yet this house isn't what it seems, but I think there might be more to my housemates than meets the eye. The question is, whose side are they on? It's up to me to figure out the dangerous secrets behind Lyle house before the skeletons come back to haunt. This book is really interesting, and I really remember liking the story. It's definitely a series that I would like to reread, and perfect for the month of October. Next up, if you're not into super scary thriller horror books, this might be the book for you if you are a fan of Sherlock Holmes as well and paranormal stuff like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I would definitely recommend you Jacka by William Ritter because basically that's what this book is. It's Sherlock Holmes mixed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's awesome. It's so cool, and I absolutely love Jacka. He just reminds me so much of Sherlock Holmes, and it's a really fun story. It's basically Sherlock Holmes, but instead of trying to solve mysteries of killers and stuff, there's supernatural creatures involved. So that's fun, right? Next up, if you're looking for a bit of a zombie-ish apocalypse read during the month of October, then the book I would recommend for you is The Awakened by Sarah Elizabeth Santana. I used to hate zombies with a passion, but then I was going out with this guy who liked The Walking Dead, and then I started watching The Walking Dead, and then I was horrified of it at first, and so I never wanted to watch it, but then I fell in love with The Walking Dead, and my friend Sarah wrote this book. It's published by my friend Ben's publishing company of Tomes, and I read it, and I'm not being biased, this book is freaking amazing. I loved it. It's about this girl named Zoe Valentine, and all of a sudden her world changes because this thing called the Z virus breaks out, and suddenly all the things like movies and TV shows is coming true because the zombies are about, and she has to try to survive, and it's crazy, and I really like it, and there's a twist, and it's super good, so I definitely recommend this to you for a zombie read in the month of October. Since I wanted to mix it up, include a lot of books from various mixed genres and formats, I chose this book right here called Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. This graphic novel I had picked up at Comic-Con, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, and I had read it in one sitting. It is so chilling and beautifully written, and the graphics in it are just so spine tingling. I don't want to spoil it for you. This book was not at all what I had expected personally, and when I read it, I just found myself like almost clenching the bed because I was so creeped out. It's just twisted and gruesome. It's so captivating and so good. So if you're looking for a cool, fun, easy graphic novel that's creepy and scary and twisted, this is a perfect book for you. Next up, we have one of my favorite books by one of my favorite authors, and that book is called Hotel Ruby by Suzanne Young. Unless you buy the new paperback cover, then the new title for it is called Hotel for the Lost by Suzanne Young, but I really like the original hardcover cover, so I always just call it Hotel Ruby. This is what the two books look like. It's the exact same book, just published differently now. There's a ghost in this video, guys. It just knocked the entire stack of books on the floor from my desk. Had a heart attack. Oh my god. What the back of the book says isn't what this book is about, but I'm just gonna read it because it's just like a little clip, I think, from within the book, and it's just so chilling. The temperature in the hallway starts to drop colder the closer I get to the last door. I wrap my arms around myself, rubbing my shoulders. I'm almost to the last room when the music starts to fade. I stop, the sense of being watched freezing me in place. I swallow hard, past the dryness in my throat, and peek behind me, terrified that I'll find something standing there. But the music is gone. Now I'm barefoot in the hallway of the Hotel Ruby with uneven breaths and chilled skin, all alone on the 13th floor. After I read this book, my dad had read it too. I didn't know that 13 floors are kind of not a thing in hotels. Usually hotels skip that floor if they have a 13th floor. I did not know that. My dad told me. This book is so creepy. It's about a girl named Audrey Casella, and her mother passes away. Her and her brother and dad end up at this creepy hotel called Hotel Ruby, and they're driving on a road trip one night to go to their grandmother's or something, and they just decided to stop, or their car broke down. I don't really remember. That's just kind of the premise of it, and they're staying in this hotel, and these weird things start happening. She meets an amazing guy named Elyse. It's just such an amazing story, full of mystery. I don't want to spoil anything, so I definitely just recommend going into the book just knowing very little and knowing that, because I bawled my eyes out at the end of this book. I closed it, and I had never cried so hard after finishing a book. I don't know why. Yeah, my dad read it, and I had come into the room crying, and he's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I just finished this book, and Suzanne Young ripped my heart out." Next book we have here is Pretty Girl 13 by Liz Coley. This book is very chilling, and just a forewarning, if you can't read darker subjects like the subject matter of rape and stuff like that, I would not recommend this book to you, because this book does deal with some of that darker subject matter. This book is kind of like a psychological thriller-ish type. I mean, I think that's how you describe it. I'm not quite sure. It's a psychological mystery. Okay, that's how they describe it. 16-year-old Angie must piece together her missing years because she arrives home after a Girl Scout trip. She was 13 years old. She went out into the forest to use the bathroom on a Girl Scout trip, and all of a sudden she's 16. 3 years have passed, and she shows up at home, and her parents didn't know where she was, and she just thinks that only a second has passed, and it's crazy. And so you just kind of have to find out what happens with all her personalities, what happened within the 3 years that she was missing. It is so crazy. The way that this book is written is so unique and beautiful, and the subject of having alternate personalities within it is so cool, and I just absolutely love this book, and it's so chilling and makes you want to turn the page. If you're looking for an awesome psychological mystery, this is definitely one to pick up. Next up, we have a book that I recently read just in order for me to find more creepy books for this video. This is one that I really enjoyed. This book is called Shudder by Courtney Alameda. I got this book a few years ago. It came out in 2015. I had been wanting to read it every year in October, but I never had the time, and I finally got to pick it up this year. I really love this book. It surprised me. There was creatures in it made out of human body parts, which is just like creepy enough in itself. So if you were like Ghostbusters, this is kind of giving you that vibe if you read this book. The main character is named Micheline Helsing, and she is a tetramat, I think that's how you pronounce it. She is a girl who sees the auras of the undead in a prismatic spectrum, and she is one of the descendants of the Van Helsing lineage. She is trained from childhood to destroy and capture these spirits and ghosts that can do harm in the world. So it's a really crazy story. I really liked it. So definitely a chilling, fun, Ghostbustery-esque read for October. Next up, along the lines of like ghost hunter-ing, we have the book Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. Can we just look at how creepy this cover is and how glorious it is? I have to admit that the cover was originally the fact that I had picked up this book to read. It's just your average boy meets girl kills people story. That was the only tagline I had to read to go into this book. I didn't want to read anything else. I just jumped right into it, and I really enjoyed it. That's all I'm gonna say about this book. So if you want to pick it up, You definitely should. Last but not least, I love Sane Asylums. I don't know why. I just love the mystery and feel of old ghost stories and things in general to me, and psychological things. So the fact that this book was set in an old insane asylum just really drew me in, especially with the cover with the old building in the background. I was like, I need to read this now. This book is basically about a girl who inherits a building from her aunt, I believe. Am I remembering this correctly? Yeah, Delia's new house isn't just a house. Long ago, it was the Piven Institute for Care and Correction for Troubled Females, an insane asylum nicknamed the Hysteria Hall. However, many of the inmates were not insane, just defiant and strong-willed, just like Delia herself. But the house still wants to keep troubled girls locked away. So in the most horrifying way, Delia gets trapped, and then she learns that the house is also haunted. Ghost girls wander the hall. In this asylum, your mind plays tricks on you all the time. So if that doesn't sell you on this asylum book, I don't know what will. I was thoroughly surprised by like the plot twist just that happened right in the beginning. It's just really creepy and cool, and I loved it, and it's fantastic. And all these books I just really love because I really like creepy horror thrillery books, which is kind of funny because I'm a real scaredy cat when it comes to like haunted houses and horror movies. So it's really weird that I enjoy reading about creepier subjects. But anyways, those are my 10 reads to wrap it up for this October Halloween creepy reads recommendation video. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me. I am Jessie, and I will see you next time. Bye! I just hit myself in the face. Alexander Hamilton.